everyone, to another episode of Sunday Supper with the Queen. I'm the Queen, Christina Green, your American Beauties Plus Queen Excellence. Today I'm going to teach you how to make chicken pot pie. So this can also be used with turkey. I've done it before after like a holiday season and we've had a turkey left over. But we bought a rotisserie chicken earlier in the week and didn't eat as much of it as we thought we were going to. So we said, hey, why don't we just make a chicken pot pie? So what we did was took a big stock pot, put the chicken in there, covered it with water, and let it boil for about 15 minutes. Let it cool down to where we're able to touch it, and then just pulled all of the meat off of the bone. So this is what you get. So to start, so let me go over all the ingredients with you. So we're going to use about a half a pound of chicken here. So I'm not going to use all of this. You know, this will be good for chicken salad, or just maybe to put on top of a big salad. Whatever you want to do. This type of rotisserie chicken is always good. You can even freeze it and then use it another week or two down the road. I have a bag of mixed vegetables. Now the original recipe called for celery and onion and carrot, but I like all the vegetables. So this bag has peas, carrots, corn, and green beans. So a nice little vegetable mix there. You're going to need about 2 tablespoons of butter, about 2 tablespoons of onion, 2 tablespoons of flour, some salt and pepper, some celery seed. I've got a 1/3 cup of chicken broth, and this is actual broth that we use from boiling the chicken. And then about a 1/3 cup of milk. And then we're also going to add in a little onion and garlic powder because you know we love that stuff here. And then pie crust. And I get the refrigerated kind, and they come 2 into a thingy. And you are going to want to let the pie crust sit out and get a little room temperature, because if you don't, it's hard to unroll, and you can actually break the pie crust. It'll split. So what I'm going to do first is take one of the pie crusts, and I'm just going to unroll it. And I'm going to lay it into the bottom of my pan here. Now I was debating on whether I wanted to do a lattice type of top for this, or if I just wanted to put a top on it, you kind of cut a little hole or a heart in the center to let some of the steam escape. But since we're nearing the holiday season, I thought a lattice top would be a good thing to show you guys, so that you know how to do this if you're going to make an apple pie, or some other kind of pie where you would use a lattice top. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do that today. Alright, so I placed this into my bowl, and I've just kind of taken my fingers and made sure that it's all pressed in along the side so there's no hole underneath it, because then sometimes the contents will seep up underneath your pie, and you don't want that. So what I'm going to do now is put in some of my chicken. Nice little healthy amount here. You want to make sure that every bite's got some chicken in it. Alrighty. Then same thing with the vegetables. I won't use this whole bag. Now the original recipe is enough for 2 pies. So what I just did here was kind of cut it in half. Okay, so now that we have this here, the next step is going to be to make the pie filling. And so what that's going to consist of is our butter here, the onion, and the flour, and then our liquids. So I'm going to show you really quickly on the overhead cam how we do that, and we'll be back here in a second to finish our pie. Okay, so we just showed you how we made our filling. And all it was I put some butter in the pot and let that melt down, put our onions in, cooked that until the onions were a little translucent, meaning kind of clear, you can see through them. And then we added the seasoning, so I put celery seed, salt, pepper, garlic, and onion powder, and then we added in our flour and our milk and our chicken stock. Now when I did all that, it was very thick, and it was too thick. So I added a little bit more chicken broth. So you might have to play with yours to make sure that it's the right consistency, but this is what you want it to do. You want it to pour over it. Oh. Yum. Make sure we get all of this deliciousness out. Oh, so good. And then what I like to do is just kind of move it around a little bit. This is going to incorporate incorporate that sauce and then mix all of your vegetables and your chicken together. Oh, these purple onions just look so pretty in here. These are called red onions, but why are they called red onions? They look purple. I don't get it. Anyway, okay, so that looks delicious. Look, so good. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you how I make a lattice top. So what I did is got a piece of waxed paper and then put the other pie shell on top of it and my handy dandy pizza cutter here. And I'm just going to make little strips. Now I like to start in the middle, up, and you know, sometimes my pizza cutter is a little lopsided, so some strips might be a little thicker than others. That's okay. Go through. I feel like the slower I go, the more wonky my strips are, so I'm just gonna breeze through this real quickly. Okay, so now we have our strips. So here's what you do. Hair back. So I always start with the longest one, the one in the middle, and I'm gonna put it on the middle. Then I'm going to kind of do every other one. Just put them on your pie like this. Okay. And now here's the tricky part. I say it like that because I don't feel like it's tricky, but I think this is what puzzles a lot of people. I take my first one here, I'm going to pull it back. I'm going to do the same thing with these others. Pull them back. Then I'm going to take this longest one here. I'm going to go like this. I'm going to put those back, and then the two that we didn't use, we're going to pull those forward. Another one here, put those back, and then we're going to do our three again here. There, those back. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So, oh goodness, now I'm confused. Okay, so if you get confused, here's what you're looking for. So my three, my middle and then my end three are on the top, so I need to make another one under. So I'm going to look for the ones that are under, which would be these two. Pull them back. Put that here. Put them back. And then these here. This here. And move those back. And then now you have your lattice top. So, this is why I always wear my hair back, because constantly it's in my face, you know, when you're moving and things. So now what you're going to do is just go through and press everything down. Press down, press down, press down. This is going to create kind of like our little seal. And after I've pressed everything down, I'm going to take my pizza cutter again, just kind of go around the edges here, kind of cut off all of this excess. So during the holidays, I make a glazed apple cream pie that my youngest nephew loves so very much. And actually, he just joined the military recently, and so before he went off to basic training, I asked him what was something special that he wanted me to make for him, and of course he requested my apple cream pie. So, since the holidays are approaching, one of my episodes is actually going to be a dessert. I make a really good apple cream pie, and then I also make a very good chocolate bourbon pecan pie. And don't worry, the bourbon cooks out, so you're not gonna, I mean, you still get the flavor, but the bourbon cooks out. It's delicious. Who doesn't love chocolate? Chocolate and bourbon. Alrighty. Alrighty. Was Annabelle in the shot earlier? That's my, so you've seen my black and white kitty a lot, that's Moonlight. But then my other kitty, her name's Annabelle, and she really only comes around when she wants something. So she smells this deliciousness and wants to eat some. But here is our pie. Doesn't it look beautiful? So there's one more thing that we need to do before we pop this baby in the oven. And let me find a pan. Butter pan. Keep it in your pantry. And we're just going to lightly mist it. And that's going to ensure that that top crust is going to be golden brown and delicious. GBD. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is pop this in our oven. It's been preheated at 350 degrees. We're going to cook it for 30 to 35 minutes But since the chicken and everything is already cooked, we're really just wanting our vegetables to get tender and the pie crust to cook. So we will see you back here in about 30 to 35 minutes. Welcome back, everyone. So I pulled this out just a little while ago. I've let it rest for a few minutes so I didn't burn my mouth when I sampled it. But it was in there for about 35 minutes. And as you can see, it is GDD, golden brown and delicious. So we're going to take a nice little helping here. Let me tell you, my house smells really good right now. It's definitely that fall comfort food that you're looking for as the weather gets colder in your area. Ooh, it's so steamy. But I've got some flaky layers, and then inside I've got all of that delicious veggie and chicken mix with the filling, that pie filling that we made. With all of those, the celery seed and the salt and the pepper and the garlic and the onion powder. Oh, and those beautiful purple/red onions. And don't skip on the celery seed. You think, just because maybe you don't have it in your pantry, that it doesn't need it. Believe me when I say that celery seed adds something. We were actually talking about how we should have put real celery in here too. But there's something about celery in a pot pie. That's good. I'm going to put a little bit more salt on mine, but y'all know how I am about salt. It's really good. That filling that we used is nice and creamy. It just adds another layer of texture and flavor to this already delicious chicken pot pie. Okay. Sorry, I forgot you were there for a second. I was about to eat the entire plate. Okay. So good. Alright guys, well as you know, the recipe will be in the comment section. And can't wait for you guys to try this and let me know how it turned out for you. Alright, well we'll see you next Sunday for another episode of Sunday Supper with the Queen.